today's going to be a different one. Today I'm going to be rating 4 different PvP clients that I've been told about. One of them launches with the Minecraft launcher, and then the other 3 are like their own separate clients. Lunar Mod, Bat Mod, and PvP Lounge, and also Badline. So it's going to be interesting to see like the FPS boosting capabilities, the mods integrated into the clients, and other stuff like that. Like, I'm going to give them a rating out of 10, and I'm going to just tell you how they felt and how good they were. If you want to see a texture pack version of this, I'll be happy to do that. Just leave it down in the comments if you want to. Anyway, I'll see you later. Remember to leave a like and subscribe if you want. Alright, off at number 1, we have PvP Lounge. And I really like this one. I thought this one was good. I really like the mods that are integrated into it, especially this reach thing. This reach thing is really good because it shows you, whether you're doing it right, and also it can be, not always, but it can be a bit of a test of, whether you're a legit player, whether you're not hacking. I found it really consistent with the frames. You can see the stats up there. Like, it had, only drops of maybe 200 in the same game, and that's really not that bad compared to other ones later on. And I found that, it was really good for that kind of stuff. I did like the presentation of PvP Lounge. It was nice. It was a nice launcher. It was a nice client. Everything like that. I really liked it. I liked the armor counter on the bottom right, and just everything about it was pretty good. It was running smoothly. I really liked the way it felt when I played with it, and I think that I would recommend this one. It's clicks per second isn't. I don't think it's the most accurate, because I did get a few more than that, but maybe that's just me. Actually, yeah, that's probably just me being bad. But it's it's really good mods. It's a solid 7 out of 10 for me, to be honest. It worked really nicely, and honestly, especially everything about it was really good. And the chroma, obviously, I always like to use the chroma, and then the toggle sprint, which is something that later on that not actually all of them don't have. The toggle sprint mod, which is just, that's really one that I use all the time, and it's one that's essential to me being able to play. So I don't know, but really solid, really solid. One that you haven't heard of much, maybe one you've heard a bit of, but not very much. It's really solid. It's a bit of an underrated client in my opinion. It works well. It's not got that many bad functions. I would say that maybe mods could be better, and maybe better presentation, and maybe just better mods, basically. Just managed to integrate better mods, but it was really nice. It was smooth. It didn't lag as much, and it was really good. And now I think we're going on to Badline. So Badline is pretty good client. I really liked it, but it's had pretty low FPS compared to other ones, and that's something that I'll go over later. But it was pretty good, because if you look at the other records, I did not have very good records with PvP Lounge. I had 3 wins and 2 losses, and that was basically a lot of. I think that I really liked some of the mods in Badline. It was really good. I liked the crosshair mod. I liked it a lot better than the other ones that I've seen before. I was playing Diamond a lot. Diamond, obviously Diamond in extremecraft.net. I really like that. It was, if you're wondering about the server IP, I'll put it in the description, but this is a really good game mode. I really like it, PvP. But anyway, so I really thought this was a good one. I think that it's very arena dependent, this Badline, because sometimes it can peak at 808, and sometimes it can be all the way down at 611. Now this one, exactly 808, low FPS 497, and the average is pretty good. It's always kind of in the 600s. It had a few frame drops, especially in this one. This was probably because of all the particles, but I don't think the other ones were as affected by the particles, which I thought was a bit disappointing, considering how much hype Badline has had. Everyone uses it, and everyone thinks it's the best one. And honestly, I would say that it's a bit overrated for how much people talk about it, how much people say, "Oh, this is such a good client. I use it. It's my favorite client to use." Stuff like that. I really think that it's not a clear first place. Let me just say that. I think that some of them it really depends on personal choice, but like with this one, honestly, it was good, but it was very laggy, and the only thing I really preferred about it was the crosshairs, and I don't know, because there's two of them that I'm thinking of switching to, which I'm not sure about, and it's between one and another one, and I'll tell you later about that in my video, my decisions and my choices, maybe to help you out a bit on this. But I would rate this an 8 out of 10. I did like how the item counter, because I could check on how many arrows. Not like I ever really got down to low arrows, but you know, if I ever did, say, I don't know, yeah, in one of these duels, it would be good to know, because you know, it's hard to, like, you know, look at your hotbar, whereas with that one you can kind of see that physically going down. And the potions as well, the potions especially, that's one that I really meant, because like it tells you how many potions you have in your hotbar, so I know how many potions I've splashed and stuff like that. It tells me how much stake I have, and you know, it may not seem that, you know, looking at it from here, it may not seem like it's that important, but really for me it was really important, and I found it really useful with that kind of stuff, and how many uses each thing has. That was I didn't really show this because I didn't play it in any of the other ones, but I played a bit on Gapple 1v1, and it's really useful in Gapple 1v1, because you need to know when your equipment's breaking, stuff like that, and that is so useful. Like the mods in Badline are possibly the best out of all of them. It's very well integrated, especially the TeamSpeak one. I really do like the TeamSpeak. It means that, you know, you don't have to exit each time, but I would like to see Discord integrated. That would be very good. That would be, because you know, obviously Discord's a modern era now, and it would be very, very, very good for a client to enable Discord and stuff like that inside it, and it would be interesting to see what it would be like. But honestly, that's a solid 8 out of 10 compared to how much hype people give it. Maybe too much hype, but I don't know. Anyway, so this is now Batmod, I think. Yeah, it's Batmod. So this one was very surprising. Look at the FPS there. It had tons of FPS drops, although the FPS drops weren't that bad. Like, I think that it was very slow FPS drop. It wasn't like, you know, like 11,000 to 500 like that. It was, you know, it was 11,000, then 1,000, then 900, and then 800, and then 700 and 600. So I found it was pretty steady. That it topped out, but it topped out with, like, you know, 1,200 FPS in some of them, which I thought was really impressive. And I think that the problem is that the only thing that really let it down for me is how much the particles affected it, and the no toggle sprint mod. I mean, that is the most key thing, because this is the one which is not a separate own launcher. You have to add it to the Minecraft launcher, and I just really did not like the presentation, the layout, the HUD, and especially, like, you know, the non-toggle sprint mod, and then it would just felt so unresponsive and so bad. And I mean, it was horrible to play with, and it was good FPS, and I mean, it should have been smooth, and I might revisit it another time, but of the 5 games I played of it, it was absolutely horrible. And I mean, I don't know what it was. It was just absolutely unbelievably horrible. So I would really not recommend it unless you're going for like massive FPS, unless you only want FPS, unless you like, if you're on a very low budget computer, I would recommend going for Batmod, because I think you could get used to it, but I don't think I could ever get used to it. It was unbelievably hard to play, and you know, I think the keylogger, the keystrokes was really horrible. I didn't like it. It was a bit finicky, and the HUD took ages to set up, and it just wasn't as integrated, obviously, because it's from the launcher, and it's not as developed as the other ones, but it still just didn't feel like a nice client to play with. And look at the FPS drop there. That's 400 in the FPS drop. That's something that I don't think you're going to see from any of the other clients in this video. So maybe I would reconsider, if you wanted to do this, I would reconsider, unless you have a very bad PC, because, you know, it gets good FPS, but it did not feel nice. It didn't feel like I was in control of my player. It felt like it was drifting a lot, and I think it's maybe just because, and I had my sensitivity the exact same, and I don't know what it is. It did not feel right, and you know, maybe you could get used to it if you're new to Minecraft. I would especially recommend getting used to something like this, because the FPS is very good, but you know, if you're used to Badline or anything like that, I wouldn't sacrifice the FPS, especially because your monitor refresh rate is different to the FPS, so you won't really be getting that much of a change anyway. Now, on to Luna Client. This one's the one that I usually use, and I was really surprised by this one because it wasn't that nice for me. I didn't like it that much. It was, it was a bit finicky, it was horrible, and yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I've been spoiled by Badlion and PvP Lounge, but the FPS was pretty bad. It had a lot of frame drops compared to Badlion because Luna Client, Badlion, the ones that are really competing with each other. The Crosshairs model is the one that I really like, and the one thing I can say positive for it is the hood is very easy to set up. I really like it. I really like how the hood is set up, everything like that. Like it is a solid one. Like I would say that, in my personal opinion, if you're starting out, I think Luna Client is very interactive and it's very good. And I mean, it's not going to be that much different from Badlion, but I think that if you want to start out, then I would say that Luna Client is a good one to start out on. It's not too complicated. I like it. You don't have to implement the keystrokes or anything like that. I mean, and especially on a lower end PC maybe, I think that it kind of caps out a few less frames because I think that it's because it's from a separate launcher. That's why Batmod gets all the extra frames. But like, it suffered a lot from particles, and I mean that's a trend I'm seeing from both Badlion and Luna Client. It suffers from particles. It suffers in Potion PvP, whereas the other two, PvP Lounge and Batmod, they didn't really suffer from the particles. Or maybe it's just because they had so high FPS in the first place that they didn't actually, I didn't notice the suffering from the particles. Whereas in this one, I could really, whenever I critted him, even when I critted him, I could feel the significant lag change, although the input is very smooth. The input is really smooth, and that's something I got to give to it. It's really smooth input. It's very nice, and obviously it's smoother input and it's nicer like that because it's a more a lot more people use it in the community. I would give this a solid overall 8 out of 10 rating. I would say that it's on par with Badlion, but there's a few things I'm going to go over in just the last section of this, which where I'm going to explain my choice and what I'm going to use from now on, and what you should choose for each kind of PC, because I think that it differs from PC to PC. But I tried it out on some other PCs and I found out the results on the other PCs, and I'll tell you what results I come up with just in a second. But before we get onto that, remember I was playing on the IP down in the description. It's Extremecraft. It's a really good server. I really like it. Obviously, I might be biased because I really like the server, but it's a really good server. I would recommend you go and play on it. The PvP, it's got loads of mini games, stuff like that. This is not it's not promotion. I've not been paid to say this. Not like anyone would ask me to pay. Anyone would pay me to say this, but I don't know. But anyway, I'll see you all just in a second. I just need to go work some things out. My end decision is that if you're starting off in Minecraft, if you're starting new, or if you really, really need FPS, I would go for Batmod. I didn't like the responsiveness, I didn't like it as a client, but if you really want to use it, I would recommend Batmod for FPS and low spec on PCs, or if you're just getting into the game. Luna Client and Badline. This is one that's, it's debated a bit. I think a lot of people think Badline are better, more than people think that Luna Client is better. And I would say that the one thing that goes really underrated is PvP Lounge. I really like this client. It's really good. The frames, the frames are better than Badline. Not as, it's more consistent, but, it doesn't peak as high. But obviously, you want more consistent frames, especially because, as I was going over before, your monitor refresh rate actually dictates how many frames your screen shows. It will be smoother if you have more FPS, but it won't be as much of a sacrifice to make. So honestly, in my rankings, discarding Batmod, I would say in first place PvP Lounge. Seriously, it was really good, and my record wasn't the best with it, 3 wins and 2 losses, but it's still really good. In second place, I would have to go for Badline. Badline, I won all 5 of my games with. I can't really complain about it. It's a really good client, and I've just got a few issues with the frame drops and stuff like that. And in third place, Luna Client. It's a bit disappointing because this has always been my client, but the frame drops are just too hard to handle. And my record was 4 wins and 1 loss, and then finally for bat mod, my record was 2 losses and 3 wins. So that's been the end of today's video. I really hope I helped you out. If you want to see a texture pack version of this, leave it down in the comments. And I know my commentary isn't the best. I'm just getting started. Alright, I'll see you later.